This the link up. This the link up. This the link up. Welcome to the link up. This the link up. This the link up. This the link up. Welcome to the link up. Oh. Yes, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Link Up Podcast with your host, Mistuh King. And currently, that's pretty much the only host you'll have for the foreseeable future. The reason being, we obviously went on break due to the pandemic, this corona situation and all of that. And since then, we kind of took a pause because things weren't really going how we wanted to go. You know, at least the reason why we went on the initial break. And then once we got into the break, people kind of readjusted and got back into different routines and habits and started doing different things and jobs and all kinds of stuff. So like schedules became a very difficult thing to plan around and all of that. So this is kind of what we have to work with for now. So hopefully y'all enjoy it. Hopefully not everybody just disappears because it's not really the link up that they once knew. I hope y'all, willing to stay along for the journey, because I know it is going to be a little difficult working out the kinks in the beginning and all of that. So hopefully y'all rock with me. Give me a little bit of chance and time to grow if the first episode isn't the best right away or whatever. Well, I guess first episode you can say. But yeah, I apologize for the long absence. Apologize for, those who grew to love the link up for what it was and feel like, this might not be exactly what they came to subscribe to from the beginning. I understand. But give me some time. We'll grow. We'll figure this out as we keep going. So, the first topic that we'll get into today is my personal album of the year / recap of 2021 hip-hop and music to a certain degree. And predictions, kinda, for what's coming. But with album of the year, I started this with my thoughts being like, initially, the year was kind of light in 2021. And this is coming off of a super light 2020 in terms of artists dropping, what was happening in hip-hop. And I get it. There's a pandemic. Nobody wants to drop new music because you can't really tour. You can't really tour based on anything. So it makes sense why most people wouldn't want to just put something out. You can't capitalize off of it. You can't tour. You can't make your money back that you invested into creating an album, paying for all the features and the beats and whatnot. So I get it. But then we get into 2021, and pretty early on in the year, I don't remember the exact date off top, but Cole dropped. Jermaine. Shout out to RDC World. I think that's the proper name of those dudes. All their ridiculous anime and basketball and like skits that they do. Like, I love that channel on YouTube. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check those guys out. Shit is hilarious. But anyway, Cole dropped. And I personally think that there was a pretty decent reception for Cole's album. There was a lot of positive talk when it first dropped. For me personally, I felt similarly. I felt like this was a pretty great album at the time. But then, like, as time went on, I kind of realized, like, I just wasn't listening to the album really. Like, I didn't spend that long listening to the album. It's like once I listened to Amari, which to me was like the immediate standout highlight of the project. There was a couple other good songs in there as well, but Amari, to me, was the standout. That, after I listened to that for a bit and a couple of the other songs that I'm blanking on the names right now, but after listening to those songs for a bit, I felt like, okay, it's cool. And then it just basically kind of started to realize that his project was good, but it wasn't great. It might have felt great at the time because it was a drought. There wasn't anybody that we really cared about. Not to say that nobody, but I mean the big name artists, the superstar, the huge draw type of people that really get the budgets, and it tends to be like a event kind of when they drop. Cole is one of those people, and it kind of felt like that, but it went away pretty quick. Which is like, for Cole, it was kind of unexpected. And I have a theory on Cole, but I'm gonna save that for another video or something, or another broadcast, podcast. I don't know. We'll figure this out. But anyway, after Cole dropped, came Nas. There was a long span in between Cole and Nas, obviously. There was a couple other people that dropped in between. But in terms of the real, like, you know, big name artists, as I said before, it was quite a gap. And to me, Nas has the album of the year. And it's like unquestionable. It just reminded me what an album of the year is kind of supposed to feel like. Cause Cole, like I said, Cole's album, it felt good, but like listening to Nas, it was like a whole different thing. I mean, where do I even start? When it comes to this album, it's just like, I don't think Nas spit a bad verse on this entire project. Like, Nas is one of those artists that, in my opinion, is like, Nas is the greatest. If I think on like most of my favorite artists, a lot of the people that I look up to musically and that kind of thing, or the people who is like, I would say I'm the fans of them, let me put it that way. And who I kind of look up to is like, in terms of my own music, you know, the people or the style, the type of hip hop that I personally enjoy listening to, is like, they all are fruit off of the Nas tree, in a sense. Stylistically, if I think on like a Lupe Fiasco, a Kendrick Lamar, a Absol, all of these people are people that you can clearly, a J. Cole, all of them, you can see the Nas influence in them. So it's like, if I am such a huge fan of these people and a large part of their style is derived from Nas, does it not make more sense to just kind of acknowledge Nas as the greatest? If he's the father of all this current generation's great, at least in my opinion's greatest. Drake, he does something else. He obviously not fruit off an Nas tree, but Drake he's different. But Nas, King's Disease 2, he did not spit a bad verse on this entire project. The beats that Hit Boy, the beats that he produced, phenomenal. My personal favorite beat is on Moments. Was it Moments? Yeah, Moments, I believe it was. It's just like the prettiest thing you ever heard in your life. Conceptually, one of the better songs on the album as well. Then we got the song with Lauryn Hill. Got like, there's quite a few moments on this project that makes it, in my opinion, the clear standout for album of the year. But I still admit it's been a pretty light year, so you know, there might be something that could come later in the year that could potentially top it. Who knows? I don't really think so, but it could be possible. In terms of what could potentially top it, there's a couple things that we have on the list. A couple more people that have announced that they're coming this year, that they're dropping this year. There's Kanye, there's Drake, there's Kendrick. All of these people have announced projects. Let's start with Kanye. him being the most recent, although that is no real indication of when the actual project is going to drop, because Kanye, he announced his project like 3 weeks ago by now. As at the time of I'm recording this, it felt like 3 weeks ago. He had his first listening party. He announced the title. He was posting his pictures of his whiteboard with his track list and stuff like that. People trying to figure out what's on the project. Then we get to a second listening party after the project didn't drop because he pushed it back. Then we get to a third listening party. Currently, at the time of recording this, is like, Kanye, what is you doing? We've seen this before. This is Kanye. We know what he does. So we shouldn't be surprised. So it's like, if he actually drops, Kanye is somebody that could potentially take the top spot from Nas for album of the year, in my opinion. Don't know what type of Kanye we'll get, which is why it's difficult to say. But just based on one of the track lists that came, one of the many like promotional stuff leading up to this project that's come out, is him releasing all the features, and I don't have it here on hand right now, but it's like you can find it online. It's a really, really long list of a whole bunch of people. One of the few things I heard was the not Jay Electronica, Jay-Z. There was a clip going around of the Jay-Z verse that's supposed to be on this project, and I heard that clip because I didn't actually go to stream any of the listening parties or anything like that. Like, I wasn't like, just give me the album and I'll listen to it when it drops. I don't need to get into all of this circus that Kanye has going around. It's like, we've seen it time after time, album after album, shoe after shoe, whatever it is that Kanye is dropping or selling at the time. We know how this goes by now. So I'm not trying to get wrapped up into it that deeply. I'm interested because it's a Kanye album. I've always been interested in Kanye albums, regardless of whether it was MAGA time or not. Like, I listened to it. I mean, if I need to be canceled for that or whatever in this generation because I listened to Kanye while he was wearing a MAGA hat, like, it is what it is. I wasn't a fan of all the MAGA nonsense, I'll say that, but you know, like, I've always been a fan of Kanye. And the thing is though, like, when he released all the features, it was kind of giving me dark fantasy vibes, although I could be wrong because, like I said, I didn't listen to the list, I didn't stream the listening parties, so I didn't hear the actual album, so I don't know what is on it. But based on the amount of features, it kind of is giving me dark, twisted fantasy vibes, because that album had mad features on it as well, although they were kind of tastefully used and a lot of them were blended and mixed, and they had a lot of different voices on one song to kind of just create layers and stuff like that. Although I don't know if this is going to be in that type of vein, but I mean, he did go through his phase when he was like, yo, I'm done with trying to be a perfectionist, after giving y'all what in his mind was the perfect album in Dark Twisted Fantasy. And it's arguable. It was a really, really good album. I don't know if it was perfect, but for Kanye, it was like his closest to perfect album, so I understand where he's coming from. But then he got off of that perfectionist stuff, and then he, according to me, not long after that's when it was Dark Twisted Fantasy, and then it was, I believe, it was a Heartbreak. It was before or after Dark Twisted, I don't know. But I remember at some point post Dark Twisted Fantasy, Kanye talking about being done with his perfectionist stuff, and then he kind of gave us the 7 album run with the Push album and all, the Push album, the Tiana album, the Kanye album, whoever else was there, I forget right now, but you know what I'm talking about. And now with him pushing back this album as many times as he is, it kind of making me think, is he working on that perfectionist side of Kanye again to potentially give us a Dark Twisted Fantasy? Is Kanye even capable of giving us Dark Twisted Fantasy again? seeing as like, I don't know, it's now the Christian version of Kanye where he kind of made his vows to not really be into the whole secular music scene the same way. Kanye is always interesting. It's always interesting to watch and try to figure out what's happening. And somebody that is equally as confusing at this point to me is Kendrick Lamar. He just recently announced that he's going to be dropping his final album on TDE. And honestly, as a huge fan of TDE, since I discovered them back in maybe 2012 or somewhere around there, I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted because watching TDE's movements over the years with each of their artists, all of the new signees, the way that they handle each artist and their respective projects, it's been fascinating to watch. I tuned in during the Black Hippie era. I remember when SZA first got signed. I remember when Isaiah first got signed. Sha'Carri, Sir, Reason. Like, I watched it all happen in live, real time type of thing. It was interesting watching TDE's growth over the years. To get to the point where Kendrick, pretty much their flagship artist, the biggest success story that they have off of TDE other than SZA, obviously. It's bittersweet, but I understand it. At least from the outside looking in, my perception is like, I love how TDE moves and handles their artists, but I hate how TDE moves and handles their artists at the same time. I feel like in general you're able to expect a higher quality of music from their artists because they take a reasonable amount of time between albums, usually at least 2. In extreme cases, like with Kendrick Lamar and Ab-Soul and SZA at the current moment, it's been like 5 years because the three of those artists last dropped in 2016. If I recall correctly. You can fact check me on that. I'm a little lazy right now. But Control from SZA was mad long ago. Damn from Kendrick was mad long ago. Do What Thou Wilt from Soul was mad long ago. J-Rock and what's his name? J-Rock and Schoolboy, they dropped more recently, but for them, it was still around 3 years ago by now. J-Rock with Redemption, Schoolboy was not Blank Face. Blank Face was the second one, I believe. I don't remember. Schoolboy Q's last project. It was at least 3 years ago. No, this is some of what frustrates me, because as a fan, it's like you want to hear from your favorite artist, and I feel for somebody like Soul that wasn't as well established as Kendrick is in terms of mass attention, like real hip-hop fans, they know Soul, they know what he does type of thing, but the masses are not, they do not. Somebody like Ab-Soul, who is my personal favorite artist off of TDE, in my opinion, he needs the extra push. He needs to be able to do more features and all of this. And I don't know if any of this is restricted from the label side, but I'm more inclined to think it is than it's not. When you look at just the output of all of their artists, the behavior, the way that they all move and operate. In general, they don't really do any much features like that. They do a couple, but they normally coincide with, somebody's dropping an album that year, so here's like 1 or 2 features on other people's project that's not TDE affiliate. And then the album comes, and then they're basically quiet again for mad long until the next album time, 2-3 years or whatever. Like, it's just a frustrating process. So to me, these are some of the things that, in my opinion, if Kendrick is still going to continue making music, because he didn't say his final album, he just said final album on TDE. So I'm assuming he's parting ways and he's going to start releasing projects on this new thing he started called PG Lang, which I'm assuming is a label. But these people, Kendrick does everything super cryptic, and it's like right when he first announced this PG Lang thing, the pandemic hit. So then it was like just silence for super long, and then something else came and we found out that Baby Keem was signed to this label, and I was the first artist that he had. So it seems basically that this is Kendrick's own label, that he and Dave Free, one of the executives from Top Dog, they starting this together. So I believe if Kendrick is still dropping albums after this, it's gonna be on PG Lang and not on Top.TDE. And I think it's a good move for Kendrick, so he can be in control and run his own ship, do his own things, kind of step into more of an executive position, being an owner of the label than just being an artist on a label. So I see it as a good move for Kendrick where he is in his career, and him being at the top of hip hop basically. So it's like, I commend that part. I just wonder, how does TDE survive without Kendrick? He is obviously the most successful artist on Top Dog. Obviously brings in the most money. I would say probably only second to SZA. SZA would only be like the only kind of real competition. And that's not a slight to the rest of the artists. It's just Kendrick is difficult to compete when the top dude in hip hop happens to be on your label. So it's like everybody on that label is going to look less successful in comparison. It's unfair for Soul. I mean, it's like nothing they could do about it. But yeah, it is what it is. I have no idea what the album is going to be, because like I said, he just announced it's his final album on TDE. There was some more to the message, but it's all vague. There was some, like, the message was ended with Oklahoma, so I don't know if that's like a hint as to the project is being recorded in Oklahoma, is gonna be called Oklahoma. There was also an image shown with a computer folder with the name New Thoughts. So I don't know if the project is gonna be called New Thoughts or Oklahoma, or what the two, if they have anything to do with each other. Like, who knows what it means, but it's Kendrick, and like, this is what Kendrick does. I'm excited for whatever it is when it does come out, so it's like, I'm gonna listen to it regardless. If anybody could take the album of the year spot from Nas, Kendrick is somebody that is capable. He has delivered perfect albums in the past. If anybody can take the album of the year spot from Nas, Kendrick is probably who could do it. And that leads me into the next person on this list, being Drake. Probably somebody that I'm the least excited about to drop this year, but you know, it is what it is. Other people like him, and I don't not like Drake. I mean, I like some of his songs. I like rapping Drake way more than I like singing Drake, and he seemed to be in a more rapping mood these days. He hasn't been singing as much recently, so I'm appreciative of that. But Drake has announced Certified Lover Boy now since last year, I believe, and we still haven't got the project. He's still busy putting heart-shaped parts in his head. And he's been doing that for like a year now. It's like, Drake, you get it? Just drop the album so you don't have to do that anymore. I'm sure you want to switch your hairstyle. Or you plan to do that for the rest of your career. If that's the case, you know, go ahead, do your thing. I can't stop you. But Certified Lover Boy, it's supposed to come sometime, any day now, whenever Drake feels like putting something out. And for those who don't know, I don't know if you've been following, but Trippie Redd recently put out a project with a song, with a feature from Drake called Betrayal. And on this song, he has some lines potentially aimed at Ye. And the fact that he's not afraid of when Ye is dropping, he don't care. He's gonna put whatever he puts out when he's gotta put it out. He's not looking out for Ye. Which led some on the internet online communities to start thinking, is Kanye and Drake beefing again? Is this gonna be the resurfacing of what happened with Story of Adidon from Pusha T? And whatever the Drake diss was, I forgot the name. I think that was Duppy Freestyle. Was it that one? Or was that the beef with Meek? Yeah, Duppy Freestyle, I believe, was Push and Drake. Whatever. I personally don't need Drake and Ye to beef. I don't care about Drake and Ye beefing like that. None of these people are like battle rappers. Yeah, Drake has been in beefs. Yeah, he has diss people. But nobody views Drake as like a real battle rap. Like, nobody cares about Drake beefing. In my opinion. Obviously, I'm sure people do. When you look at the numbers of what the results was when it was Meek or Push, both songs did numbers. All the songs involved did numbers. So it's like, obviously people care. But you know what I mean. Speaking hyperbolically. In terms of what this project from Drake is going to sound like, I have no idea. I'll see what it sounds like when it drops. I don't have much of a deep dive on Drake because to me, the one aspect I found that was interesting was that little Drake Ye line is like, why are you doing this now, Drake? You don't need to, like, I guess maybe he does because he has a project coming, so he kind of needs to get the attention. But I swear I not too long ago saw some headlines or heard an interview somewhere where supposedly they pieced it up and everything was good, and now it's like there's name mentions and call outs and stuff again. It's like I don't know what these two are doing. To round off all the albums of the year in another project that still has to drop. I don't know when it's gonna drop. I personally am not necessarily too excited or looking out for it like that. But there's also Beyonce, who announced that she's been working on music for like the last year and a half, or she's been in the studio for the last year and a half. I forget the exact quote or caption that she posted somewhere online. But Beyonce is coming. So there's like a lot of big name people to come between now and the end of the year based on stuff that they said. I don't know how they're all gonna fit, who's gonna occupy what months, because these people all, they don't necessarily need to have huge rollouts and stuff, and they've all kind of been, at least Kanye and Drake have been busy with a rollout. Drake has been busy with a rollout for the last year since he announced Certified Lover Boy and started putting the heart-shaped parts in his hair. Kanye been at it with these listening parties for the last month. Beyonce been known to just drop at the, just drop at a moment's notice, pop out of nowhere and stop the internet, as the kids say. So who knows, when she just pop out, she might just pop out. Kendrick, I feel like the way TDE, they generally deal with rollouts, proper promotional plans and lead ups and stuff like that, but Kendrick been cryptic, so who knows what's to come from him. I'm just curious to watch it all play out, see who takes the spot of album of the year from from Nas. And that leads me into my final topic for today. something that is somewhat serious, somewhat lighthearted. Sha'Carri Richardson debacle, or saga, or fiasco. Whatever nouns you prefer. It's been a situation, another noun to add to the list. It's been a situation that all started before the Olympics, for those not unfamiliar with the situation. Basically, we all came to know her name from this race that she ran. And then the clip of her just running into the stands to hug her family member at the end of the race, like not necessarily stopping, just keep running, went straight into the stands, hugging her family member. It was like a sweet moment that the internet, it went viral, and everybody, like, that's how people kind of become to know her name. Then came the Olympics and blah blah, and people found out about the situation of her being suspended because she smoked weed, and then came the reason as to why she smoked weed, and there was a whole lot going on. And I feel like most people were on her side. There was some people that were a little split when it came to the smoking weed thing, because some people felt like, yeah, she should know better, blah blah, but she was like, she kind of took accountability and was like, I respect it, I understand that they suspend me. But the whole internet was like, well, a lot of people on the internet, let me not say the whole, a lot of people on the internet were petitioning to try to get the Olympic Committee to change the rules to allow Sha'Carri to race, because they were saying weed isn't even a performance enhancing drug or anything like that. So it's like, it was an interesting thing to watch it all play out. I personally was kind of on the side of like, well, you know, I get it, but rules are rules. If the Olympic Committee has a rule against marijuana, and this is something that she was aware of, because this is where she's going to compete, to me, she should have kind of like not smoked the weed, or if she smoked the weed and got caught, just accept the thing, like, and she kind of did. So I was like, no harm, no foul, everything kind of makes sense. Like, it's not a big deal. It's sad, but you know. And then we got to the Olympics, and it actually happened, and the women's 100-meter race happened, and Sha'Carri was not present. But you had a 1, 2, 3 victory from Jamaica. And there was a tweet from Sha'Carri Richardson that went something along the lines of, "Do y'all miss me yet?" And for me, I was quite bewildered by this. I was befuddled. I was confused. Puzzled even. The reason for my bewilderment was that Sha'Carri Richardson, at that time, her Olympic trials best was not even good enough to have placed third based on the times that the winners of the 100-meter, 1, 2, and 3, first, second, and third place winners from Jamaica, all three of their times were faster than Sha'Carri's most recent time up until the moment of the Olympics. So I was confused as to what Sha'Carri Richardson was trying to imply with, "Do y'all miss me yet?" Because it's like, even if you were there, you would have lost. You wouldn't have even gotten a medal. Why would we miss you? We were busy appreciating Elaine, Shelly Ann, and I'm blanking on the third young lady's name right now. But the first, second, and third place winners from Jamaica is who I'm referring to. And I will admit, to Sha'Carri's benefit, that her personal best time, so if she performed on her best day, given the best that she's ever done of all time up until now, it's a pretty good time. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but based on that time, she might have came in second, and that would have been something interesting to watch. So I guess that's maybe what she was referring to, but still, she wouldn't have won. Because Elaine's still faster than Sha'Carri's best overall up until this point. But anyway, it was just one of those things that confused me. But anyway, moving on past that tweet. Now we get to the actual race. Post-Olympics, there's this Prefontaine Classic thing, some track meet that is happening where we get some of the top racers. We get those same people that I just mentioned, the first, second, and third place, among other people from the Olympic. They're competing in this same race against Sha'Carri. She's participating the first time we've seen her since the Olympic trials and all of that. And Sha'Carri places last. More confusion. You can't place last, Sha'Carri. You asked if we missed you. Is this what you were going to do at the Olympics? Had you been allowed, if the petition somehow magically made the Olympics got the Olympics to change their rules and allowed you to compete even with the whole weed debacle and whatnot? I was just confused. And it wasn't just about the fact that you came in last. It wasn't just about the fact that you came in last. You then did an interview to speak on the fact that you're the 6th fastest woman in the world. But you came in last in that race. So something seems to not add up. There was another moment of confusion. In that same interview, she made sure to let us know that she was not done yet. It's not the last time we'll see Sha'Carri Richardson. But then, not long after, there's a news headline that says Sha'Carri Richardson pulls out of the 200 meter at the same track meet, an event that she was supposed to compete in. If you are not done yet, why are you pulling out of event? That seems to send or tell me that you are done, at least for now. Which one is it? And I know some people might feel like I'm being harsh or hard on Sha'Carri Richardson, but it's just like, for those who know, it's like you can't be having a last name and embarrassing it like that. Those who know, they know why I would feel this way, but you know. Shout out to the Richardsons. But in all seriousness, the moral of the story here, the moral of all of this is simply, don't talk shit and you won't get clowned. Because all of this is just jokes. I don't mean any personal ill will to Sha'Carri. I hope she competes and gets better and all of these things so that she can actually win and stuff. Because like I said, initially everybody was on her side. That's where it started. It went wrong when she started talking shit. And it went wrong-er when she lost after talking shit. That is the moral of the story. If you want to talk shit, you must win. There's a reason Floyd is Floyd. Many people have tried to be Floyd, and it didn't work out for them. Because you talk shit, you get clowned. You can't become humble after the loss once you've been talking shit. People expect you to maintain that, and you just gotta stand in your own embarrassment of talking shit and losing. We've seen Adrian Broner at one point talked about as the second coming of Floyd. Similar style, kinda. Very arrogant and cocky and flashy and talked a lot of shit. Just like Floyd. Got into the ring, lost. Kinda stops working. People don't really believe the shit talker and all of that. Once you get knocked out. We kinda saw it with Deontay Wilder as well. Very kinda like talked a lot of shit. Then he had his loss. Then it seems like he's been a little all over the place ever since then with some of the statements he's been making. Blaming it on this person, blaming it on that person. Every week it changed to a new reason as to why he got his loss why he got his loss. We saw it with Conor McGregor. Talked a lot of shit. Ended up with a broken leg. The internet had no sympathy. The jokes, the ridicule, the clowning. There was a certain NBA player by the name of Nate Robinson who decided to challenge the Disney people or wherever it was them Paul brothers got their start. The YouTuber guys. The internet had no mercy. The jokes were let fly. The memes were made. This is the process. This is what happens if you're a person that talks shit and loses. You get clowned. That is all this is about. It's not about anything that I saw certain people in the debates that was happening online trying to say that people need to have sympathy. Look at how fickle the internet is and all of these things. And it's true, the internet is fickle, but that is not what is happening here. What is on display is you talk shit, people didn't forget, and now they're clowning you for talking shit, for losing after talking shit. It's that simple. It's nothing personal against Sha'Carri Richardson. It's nothing personal against black woman, as I saw some people trying to make it out to be. She lost to other black women. Like, how is that even a thing? But like, it's a simple lesson here. Don't talk shit, and people won't celebrate when you lose. And on that note, I think we can end this first episode of the Link Up Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the first episode with just one voice, just my opinions, just me talking for almost an hour. Well, kind of got close to it, but let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed it. Till the next time we link up.